There are thousands of beauty icons in Hollywood, but only one is Jacqueline Bisset. Newsweek once praised the woman as the world's most gorgeous actress. However, she never got married. Her seductive on-screen persona captivated the world. However, she hated the moments that made her a symbol of seduction. She stood next to Francois Truffaut, Steve McQueen, and Frank Sinatra, but no guy was ever able to keep her. What is the truth, then? Was it a secret tragedy or a decision? What transpired behind the glittering facade? You will reconsider all of your preconceived notions about Jacqueline Bisset after reading this narrative. Born on September 13, 1944, during World War II, Jacqueline Bisset's life was everything but tranquil from the start. Even though they were born into a wealthy family, their mother was a French lawyer, and their father was a doctor, there were cracks behind their supposedly flawless veneer that would never heal. Arlette Alexander, her mother, was a strong, bright woman. However, she had a tragic fate. She gave up her job to raise a family, but her life took a terrible turn after receiving a multiple sclerosis diagnosis. Max Fraser Bisset, the man she had once trusted, deserted the family, leaving Jacqueline and her mother on their own. Jacqueline saw personally how her mother, who had formerly been strong and independent, was left to struggle alone, even if as a small child she didn't completely comprehend the complexity of the adult world. Not only did her father's leaving cause her heart to ache, but it also sowed a deep, unseen fear of marriage and love. Early on, she realized that women could not depend on men to make them happy. When they ceased to be the idealized image that men formerly admired, they would be discarded without a profession of their own and without financial independence. Jacqueline's life was no longer carefree after that. She spent years that should have been spent in childhood innocence growing up alone. She fretted about how to make money to support her mother while other kids played. She had to mature far too quickly because she had no one to protect her or mentor her. She found that modeling was her sole means of support. But she learned another hard lesson from this line of work. Beauty was a risky trap, but it was also a golden ticket to the world of fame. The 1960s fashion industry was rife with objectification, criticism, and exploitation. Nobody gave a damn about Jacqueline's thoughts or desires. They assigned her a part based only on their observation of her face and figure. A lovely flower instead of a bright, aspirational woman. Jacqueline, however, resisted becoming a victim of fate. She had dreamed of becoming a ballet dancer for a living. Reality was harsh, but ballet was the only place where she felt like herself, not simply a lovely face on magazine covers or catwalks. Due to the high cost of ballet instruction, she was unable to continue after her family's financial situation crumbled. She quickly discovered that the ballet industry was as brutal because her body didn't meet the rigid requirements of dancers at the time. It was too tall and full-figured. Where the truly extraordinary would be crushed and only the truly exceptional could survive. She resisted being crushed. After being forced to give up her dream of becoming a ballet dancer, Jacqueline came to the realization that she needed a different route that would allow her the freedom she so badly desired. Cinema was that route. The Italia Conti Academy of Theatre Arts, which had produced some of the best screen actors in Britain, was where she enrolled. However, she was unable to shake the shadow of her own beauty even after entering the world of acting. Her talent went unnoticed. Her face was the first thing they saw. She was cast by directors not because of her acting prowess but rather because of her sophisticated, elegant, and captivating personality. Jacqueline was deeply conflicted after coming to this realization. She knew that she would never succeed in this field without her appearance, but she still wanted to be known for her talent. She rose to Hollywood more quickly than anyone could have predicted because to her attractiveness, but it would also work against her in the long run. Because you won't be able to forget that truth if you enter the film industry through beauty. Jacqueline will soon realize the true cost of celebrity. Jacqueline knew just what it meant. She was aware that she would never have the opportunity to establish herself as a legitimate actor once she consented to being limited to the title of beauty goddess. Could she, however, break free from the golden cage Hollywood had already set up for her? Jacqueline first appeared on screen in The Knack and How to Get It in 1965. It was her first entry into a world full with hidden traps, but it wasn't a significant role or a turning point in her career. 2 years later, she received a more significant role in Casino Royale, 1967, a parody of the James Bond franchise. Yet rather than spurring her towards Royale acting, it felt like a slap in the face. The role of Miss Goodthighs requires no acting abilities. It merely required her to be so breathtakingly attractive that audiences couldn't look away. Everything Jacqueline had anticipated happened at the audition. The director didn't evaluate her abilities to play a role or inquire about her acting background. They merely gazed at her. They appeared to be evaluating a costly object rather than a complex, aspirational individual. And all eyes were on Jacqueline as she arrived on the set wearing a skimpy bikini. There was silence for a few seconds. Then there were whispers of praise. One individual, however, was really uneasy in the midst of the wonder. Jacqueline herself. She didn't want to be known solely as a seductive picture on the television. However, she had no other options in Hollywood at the moment. She was inundated with offers following the release of the movie. However, there was one obvious problem. The requirement was the same for all of the scripts she got. She only needed to have a lovely character. At that point, she had to decide whether to fight to prove she had genuine skill or accept becoming simply another screen siren. Then an unanticipated chance presented itself in 1967. Jacqueline co-starred with one of the greatest actresses of all time, Audrey Hepburn, in the film Two for the Road. It required subtle emotional performances because it was a romantic drama. Jacqueline saw the difference as soon as she entered the set. Everything changed when she was treated like a legitimate actor for the first time. Jacqueline became the character rather than merely playing the part. The glitzy bikinis and sequences that were solely intended to highlight her physique were no longer there. Instead, she got to express what she had long yearned for: the vulnerability, grief, and the inner upheaval of her character. The movie was a hit. For the first time, her name was brought up by critics for her nuanced, emotive performance rather than her appearance. More significantly, though, Jacqueline had discovered her voice in the film industry. She realized then that she could and should struggle to be seen as a serious actress. When she was chosen for the Frank Sinatra movie The Detective in 1968, it was her next big break. However, she had already heard the warnings before she entered the set. Sinatra is challenging. Sinatra is domineering. Sinatra dislikes collaborating with up-and-coming performers. More than everything, Jacqueline wanted to learn from a legend, so she ignored the whispers and didn't fear obstacles. However, she was taken aback to discover that Frank Sinatra was quite different from what she had been warned of. He wasn't tough, haughty, or contemptuous. Instead, he referred to her as the child and even defended her against the screenwriter's opposition. Additionally, as a thank you gift after filming was finished, he gave her a leather-bound script. The media didn't take long to start speculating. Did she and Sinatra have a love relationship? A stunning actress collaborating with a great man? Something greater had to exist. Her brilliance made no one think she was there. The Detective helped her grow in her work in spite of the rumors. However, she wasn't made famous by the movie. That time arrived when she starred in Bullitt, 1968, one of the best action movies ever made. In addition to solidifying Steve McQueen's place as a Hollywood legend, the movie demonstrated that Jacqueline could compete with the top stars in the business. Rumor had it that Jacqueline was merely another attractive face beside McQueen before it was released. However, the doubters went silent when the movie was shown on a large screen. She wasn't merely McQueen's film's ornamental love interest. She played a crucial role in the narrative, giving a nuanced yet impactful performance. At last, she had to be viewed differently by Hollywood. In 1974, Jacqueline played the lead in the movie Murder on the Orient Express, which included a number of renowned actors. Hollywood finally acknowledged that Jacqueline Bisset was more than simply a beautiful actress at this point. She truly was a Hollywood star. It was Jacqueline Bisset's beauty that brought her to Hollywood. But like so many other celebrities, she would have been forgotten if that were all she had. She had to prove to the public that she was a legitimate actor as well as a sexy icon in order to live. Hollywood, however, wasn't prepared to let go so quickly. Her appearance was further commercialized, making her the quintessential sex icon. Something she had never really wanted. The 1970s. The Deep, released in 1977, was the culmination of it all. When Jacqueline signed on to The Deep, she thought she was a part of an exciting undersea adventure, a movie with content, rather than a marketing campaign based solely on looks. Hollywood, however, had other ideas. She knew something wasn't right from the start of the shoot. She was wearing a white swimsuit, and the camera was fixed on her torso. Obtaining close-ups that emphasized the character's physical attractiveness rather than her personality. However, it wasn't until the movie came out that Jacqueline realized the truth. One of the most famous scenes in movie history was her wearing a white t-shirt that was soaked and sticking to her body. Even worse, she was unaware that this scene would become the main marketing focus for the entire film. At first, the director and producers had reassured her that the costume was simply regular diving gear that fit the character. They maintained that it was only intended to be a genuine representation of female divers and not to be controversial. She discovered, however, that the truth was very different from what she had been told when the film was released. There was no dramatic moment or exciting action scene on the movie's promotional poster. In that damp t-shirt, it was just her. As though that were the film's true star. The public was more interested in her beauty than the movie's real subject, and the media wouldn't stop discussing it. Through competitions and events that imitated the scenario, that one scene unintentionally started a global wet t-shirt trend. When some started to wonder if it had all been pre-arranged, the issue got more heated. The scene wasn't as coincidental as Jacqueline thought, according to some critics. In order to fully capitalize on her image, they felt the filmmakers knew exactly how the thin cloth would turn translucent underwater but purposefully kept that knowledge from her. That t-shirt made me a rich man, Peter Guber, the producer of The Deep, even said openly, adding credence to the notion that it was a premeditated marketing gimmick from the beginning. Jacqueline was duped. Years later, she said that she felt like crying when she first saw the scene in theaters. Despite having only one exploited scene, she had never agreed to become an unmanageable sex symbol. She ran the risk of having all she had worked so hard to create turned into a cheap PR stunt. But even though she was unhappy with the way the movie promoted her, The Deep was a huge success. Though not in the way she had anticipated, it made her a worldwide celebrity. Hollywood would always limit her to roles that only used her appearance if she didn't overcome this perception. She was also aware that she needed a part that would change the course of her career and make Hollywood take a different look at her. Rich and Famous, published in 1981, provided that opportunity. Jacqueline's response to years of being viewed as simply another movie star was Rich and Famous. This drama was profound. A war of wit and emotion between two women over friendship, passion, and treachery. This time, Jacqueline was more than just a decorative presence, she played a character with nuanced acting and deep, nuanced emotions. She lived the part, not just played it. When the movie originally came out, the media described Jacqueline Bisset as a serious actress in addition to being a seductive symbol. She had been waiting her entire career for this moment. She had demonstrated that while popularity may come from beauty, longevity could only be guaranteed by talent. In 1987, Jacqueline took on a new challenge with Napoleon and Josephine, a love story, as part of her ongoing quest for creative legitimacy. This was not merely a dramatic historical event. It was a chance for her to demonstrate her acting maturity. Being Josephine, Napoleon Bonaparte's powerful sidekick, required grace, nuance, and fascinating sophistication. Jacqueline received a prestigious Golden Globe nomination for her immaculate performance. Napoleon and Josephine was her proclamation that she could succeed in any genre, but Rich and Famous was her answer to those who questioned her competence in contemporary drama. However, her notable flicks weren't the only factors that contributed to her popularity. It also had to do with the company she maintained. Jacqueline demonstrated her talent throughout her career in more ways than only her outstanding performances. She also had the honor of collaborating with some of the real movie stars. Master filmmakers Francois Truffaut, Roman Polanski, John Huston, and George Cukor, who did not give opportunities away easily, directed her. Jacqueline would never have been in such prestigious company if she had lacked genuine talent. In addition, she appeared on screen alongside some of the best actors in movie history. Stars from the following generation, including Nick Nolte and Kenneth Branagh, Anthony Quinn, a titan of the Golden Age, Jean-Paul Belmondo, the epitome of French cinema, and Paul Newman, formerly acclaimed as Hollywood's most ideal leading man. There was no denying her position in the industry. Her reputation is well established. But there was still one unanswered question. What prevented Jacqueline Bisset, a stunning, prosperous, and well-known woman, from getting married? The next chapter will reveal the details of her turbulent personal life. Hollywood is rife with short-lived relationships, contentious divorces, and power couples that are always being watched by photographers. Jacqueline Bisset, however, was a rare exception in that world. The public began to wonder why a woman as stunning, gifted, and well-known as Jacqueline would choose to live a solitary life since she never married, never wore a wedding gown, and never walked down the aisle with any man. Jacqueline never concealed why. She once said in an interview, "I'm too independent to get married." She believed that commitment was more important in marriage than love alone. About embracing everyone's imperfections and habits. Furthermore, she was unwilling to give up it. Even children, despite being a bond between two people, were no guarantee of lifelong happiness. You don't always notice someone's bad habits when you love them. But when you marry them, you have to live with those habits every day. And I doubt I could pull that off. Despite never being married, Jacqueline had plenty of intense relationships. Men who came into her life, love affairs that made an effect, and disputes that were never fully settled. The most important of Jacqueline's lovers was Michael Sarrazin. The 6 years she spent living with the Canadian actor was the longest she had ever been in a relationship. When they first met, they were both Hollywood rising stars in the late 1960s. Jacqueline was instantly fascinated by Sarrazin's raw appeal and free-spirited demeanor. Following a press conference, they sat together on a Paris hotel balcony one July evening in 1969. Michael drew slowly from his cigarette as the golden light shone in her goblet of wine. "Should we get married?" With a half-smile on his lips, he questioned abruptly. Jacqueline gave him a look. Her eyes were sparkling as though she knew the answer before she even spoke it. "I'm terrified of being confined, therefore even though I love you, I don't think marriage is for me." Michael threw his cigarette on the stone floor and laughed. "Then let's simply remain in this state. Just two individuals in love, no paperwork, no rings." Later on, though, she understood that a relationship devoid of commitment could never endure. Although intense, their love was tumultuous. Jacqueline zealously defended her freedom, and Sarrazin was not the sort to settle down. Ultimately, they were unable to work out their disagreements. There was only a silent realization that they were never destined to be together forever, no dramatic split, no scandals, no furious arguments. Jacqueline, who has a strong passion for movies, was drawn to Francois Truffaut, one of the best directors in French cinema history. He was renowned not only for his works of art but also for his captivating intelligence. "Jacqueline, you are a goddess of the screen, but I think you are more than that," Truffaut said to her one evening in Cannes. "No one can ever possess the crazy spirit that you possess." She would think about those remarks for years to come. It's unclear why they broke up, although it's possible because they were both free-spirited artists, unwilling to accept love as a binding force. Jacqueline went on to another love affair, this time with a man from the ballet industry, while Truffaut kept making movies. Alexander Godunov was a man of unadulterated passion and drama, whereas Sarrazin was a free spirit and Truffaut was a sophisticated thinker. Godunov, a renowned Russian ballet dancer, personified the passion and unpredictable nature of an artist's spirit. Jacqueline once discovered Godunov sitting by himself on the deserted stage, his eyes red from vodka, following a lavish ballet performance in New York. "What do you know?" His voice was shaky as he whispered. "They had a troubled relationship that lasted for years, but no one really understood me, even though everyone watched me dance." The demands of Godunov's job contributed to his propensity for severe emotional outbursts, and in part because he is a naturally erratic person. Jacqueline, meanwhile, placed a higher priority on stability and peace. Despite their affection for one another, they were never able to achieve true harmony. Ultimately, she left, carrying on with her own path. Jacqueline Bisset assumed the position of stepmother despite never getting married or having biological children. Emin Bostip and Michael Sarrazin, two of the men she shared a home with, had kids from past relationships. During the years they lived together, Jacqueline took care of them extensively and acted as a mother figure even though there was no formal relationship between them. Although she never felt guilty about not having children of her own, she still had maternal feelings. She recognized that marriage and motherhood were not her destined paths, but she still loved the kids of the guys she was seeing. Jacqueline Bisset has modest yet heartbreaking breakups as well as lovely romantic relationships. But she never let romance hold her back, regardless of who she loved. She never married and didn't start a traditional family, but she led a free and independent life, something that very few Hollywood women could actually achieve. Jacqueline Bisset was also not completely immune from scandal, despite being considered one of Hollywood's most elegant actors. The 2014 Golden Globe Awards were one of the most memorable events, sending shockwaves across Hollywood. Jacqueline Bisset, who was 69 at the time, took home the Best Supporting Actress award that year for her performance in the TV show Dancing on the Edge. It was her career's first Golden Globe victory. A moment that ought to have been long overdue for a woman who had worked in the field for decades. However, rather than giving a stirring, heartfelt statement, the occasion turned into one of the most strange Golden Globe Award acceptance speeches ever. Jacqueline was visibly upset but also a little agitated as she made her way to the platform as her name was called. She stopped for a few seconds while holding the microphone, as though she was having trouble composing her remarks. However, instead of delivering a succinct speech, her remarks became halting, rambling, and rather lengthy. She repeatedly expressed her gratitude, changed the subject suddenly, and occasionally stopped for awkwardly long periods of time. A mixture of astonishment and laughter was captured by the camera when it panned to the audience. The camera lingered on Bradley Cooper, Julia Roberts faked an unpleasant smile, and Leonardo DiCaprio raised an eyebrow. He attempted, but was unable, to conceal his confusion. Social media was ablaze with conjecture as soon as the broadcast concluded. Before taking the stage, people started to wonder if Jacqueline Bisset had consumed any alcohol. There were a lot of sarcastic comments on Twitter. I doubt that even Jacqueline Bisset understands what she is saying in her speech. That speech perfectly captures the essence of an intoxicated 2 a.m. phone conversation. Could someone please switch off the microphone? In an interview the next day, Jacqueline Bisset categorically denied the rumors, saying, "I didn't drink before going on stage. I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I had waited for this moment for 47 years." The Guardian called it one of the most awkward moments in Golden Globe history, while Time magazine listed it among the weirdest moments in Golden Globe history. She also explained that she had never expected to win because she had grown accustomed to Hollywood ignoring her during awards season. She struggled to express her feelings as the overwhelming emotions took over when she took the stage. Whatever the reality, the incident turned into a memorable period in Jacqueline Bisset's career. In addition to providing viewers with a topic of discussion for years to come, it also made an indisputable discovery. In the heat of the moment, even a seasoned Hollywood legend may lose control. Jacqueline Bisset's career is one that deserves recognition for her decades of commitment. She was among the first females to receive more than $1 million for a role in the 1980s, when the wage gap between male and female actors was still very much in place. At the time, that was a remarkable statistic. In addition to demonstrating her value, this was a big step forward for actors in the future who want to be paid fairly. She was well known outside of Hollywood. She received recognition for her services to art and culture on a global level when President Nicolas Sarkozy awarded her France's coveted Légion d'honneur. American cinema was never the only place to see Jacqueline. She starred in movies from more than 20 different nations, collaborating with some of the best filmmakers in the world. She wasn't merely a famous actress. She was an international artist whose career lasted for several generations. Her influence extended beyond the screen, despite the fact that she was never married or had children. Angelina Jolie's godmother, Jacqueline Bisset, has been praised by Jolie for her profession, citing her independence, daring decisions, and brave approach to obstacles. Because of the road she took, rather than the men she loved, Jacqueline Bisset is still regarded as a legend at the age of 80. A route that was unorthodox, unconstrained by tradition, and above all one that was exclusively Jacqueline Bisset's. Jacqueline Bisset, who is 80 years old, has not retired from the entertainment business or chosen a tranquil life. She keeps making appearances on screen, demonstrating that her love of movies has never faded. She played an experienced actress with a complicated soul in the 2022 film Lauren and Rose, which was a clear mirror of her own life and career. In recognition of her exceptional contributions to cinema over the course of 60 years, she received the Cultural Icon Award at the Coronado Island Film Festival that same year. In addition to maintaining her on-screen persona, Jacqueline Bisset still exudes grace and classic charm. She has allowed time to shape the beauty of a woman who has lived, experienced, and stayed free, refusing to follow Hollywood's fixation with youth and plastic surgery. She continues to be involved in philanthropy outside of her work. She spends her time advocating for animal rights, child welfare, and cancer research, maintaining her sensitivity and humanitarian spirit. Jacqueline believes that life is more than just being in the spotlight. It also has to do with the legacy she wants to leave behind for coming generations. However, her remarks regarding the #MeToo movement in February 2025 unpredictably sparked controversy. She said in an interview that she had little empathy for the movement and that women should be more circumspect in their conduct and dress to prevent sexual harassment. She also claimed that because she always stayed out of dangerous situations and was frequently shielded by her male co-workers, she had never been harassed throughout her lengthy career. Reactions to her statements were instantly conflicted. Her viewpoint was attacked by some as being out of date and uncaring for women who had experienced violence in the field. But there were some who backed Jacqueline, thinking she was just talking about her own experiences from a different time in Hollywood. Whatever the debate, Jacqueline Bisset's position is consistent with her identity. Strong, self-reliant, and not scared to defy expectations. She has never sought approval from others or lived up to their expectations. Jacqueline Bisset made the decision to lead an uncommitted life. No husband, no kids, no man who really cared for her. Was that strength, though, or was it just loneliness masquerading as self-reliance? Had she really never needed a husband, or had she just never met someone deserving? What are your thoughts? Is it possible for a woman to be content without having children, or is it merely a means of justifying her loneliness? Could the harsh lesson of her parents' tumultuous marriage have influenced her decisions? Please share your opinions with us in the comments section below. To ensure you don't miss any more startling tales about Hollywood icons, please hit like and subscribe. To learn more about the amazing lives of the icons you like, click on the video that is currently displayed on your screen.